What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Nichols YouTube channel. Today we have a Nationals question and answer from Canada the last weekend, and the deck that we talk about in the interview is Raichu, Leafeon, Crobat, which you see the list in front of us here. Now, Raichu has the attack Circle Circuit. It does 20 damage times the number of your bench Pokemon. So when you combine this with Skyfield, you can have 8 Pokemon on the bench. You do 160. With a Silver Bangle, you're doing 190, which knocks out the majority of Pokemon EXs. And with Golbats and Crobats, you're knocking out those pesky Megas that have 240 or 220 or whatever, because you can hit numbers there. And if you don't know, if you have all 8 Pokemon, Silver Bangle, Skyfield, all you need is a you need to evolve into a Golbat and a Crobat the same turn, and you can actually do 240 that same turn to knock out a Groudon and or a Kyogre, which is pretty cool there. He talks about the Leafeon some with the Energy Crush, which why he added in the deck, and overall the list is pretty solid. So hopefully you enjoyed the interview, and thanks for watching. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Nichols YouTube channel. Today we're doing a Nationals report, and what's your name?
My name's Ciaran Farah. I'm from Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, and we know that you play the Raichu Leafeon Crobat deck, but what were your matches in Swiss?
Uh, Round one, I faced the Gardevoir deck,
Okay.
so that's a pretty easy matchup because I can just one-shot the Gardevoirs, and I'm like a lot faster. So I think I got a turn two knockout in a regular Gardevoir EX,
Okay.
and then I was able to like snipe off his Spritzies as he put them down.
hmm
And he benched a Shaman, so I was able to Lysander it, and then I just killed something else for a cheap price. Game two was pretty similar.
Okay.
Uh, Round two, I faced an Evoltal deck with, I think he played Shadow Circle, I can't remember, but it's a pretty good matchup for me because I can one-shot everything in this deck, and he's weak to Lightning.
True.
Round three, I faced Donphan, which is kind of a tough matchup, but game one he dead drew, so I got to kind of steal a game off him. In game two, I dead drew, so it was even. And then game three, I didn't have a supporter, and I was draw passing, and it eventually got to the point where I had a Pikachu active with 30 and nothing on my bench, and my hand was two Skyfields, and I drew a Shaman, and then I think I played 3 Shamans down that turn and set up my whole board, and I played an N to put him to 3 or something, and he just drew dead the whole game. And then he started with Landorus, and he discarded his one switch, so I was able to Sky Return between Shamans until I was fully set up. And then I was able to knock out his Landorus on my turn with a bat, so he had to promote something new. And I was able to kill a Donphan the same turn.
Okay.
So I had a huge tempo swing, so kind of just won from there. Round four, I faced. What did I face round four? I faced the Manectric Seismitoad Rough Seas deck,
Okay.
which I played Leafeon, so his Seismitoads didn't really do much. So my game plan for that was try and kill one Mega Manectric with a full bench, a Bangle, and a Golbat, and then try and take a knockout on a Seismitoad and a Keldeo or a Shaman if he benches that, which I was able to do.
Okay.
I was round five actually. Round four I faced the Mega Rayquaza colorless deck, which they're weak to Lightning and they're really fast, but I'm really fast as well. So I had a pretty easy matchup against that. It was stream.
Did he did he play Altaria at all or no?
Yeah, he played a 2-2 line, but there's a pretty disgusting turn where I got 230 in one turn with bats and bangles when he had the weakness shut off.
Okay.
So that was pretty good. My deck ran really well that round, I remember. That was 5 wins. So round six I faced Chase Maloney, so we just ID'd. We played that matchup for fun. It was Metal against my deck. Leafeon is really good against Metal. We played for fun. I took the match, but it was really close. And Chase is really good, so I'm glad he let me tie with him. I was a bit worried.
Yeah.
The final round of Swiss, I got down paired, but not to a 5-1, to a 4-0-2, so I couldn't ID. And my resistance was pretty bad, I remember, so I had to actually win to make cut. So I was pretty worried. I faced another Manectric Toad Rough Seas deck.
hmm
Leafeon, I remember in the first game, I think it took 4 of my prizes for me. Just with Lysanders on water weak Pokemon. Leafeon actually really paid off for me. Not in the matchups I was expecting, but that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was able to knock out a Manectric with a Raichu as well, so that was good. Game two, I remember he got a good start, and I didn't set up properly, and then I made a really big misplay where I played Sacred Ash and I forgot to propagate before, so I had to shuffle back an egg. And I junipered, and then I had like an Ultra Ball on the computer search, and I couldn't play them because I accidentally shuffled back the egg.
Yeah.
So I just scooped to save time. There's no point in it. Game 3, I just got a good setup and I was able to win. The matchup's kind of like that.
Okay. Now, going into day 2, you know what you're playing against. Were you nervous or were you okay?
I was facing Matt Koo. He's like one of the biggest legends in Canadian Pokemon, I guess.
Okay.
He's really good. I've played him a lot. We have a pretty even record against each other.
Mhm.
And I was facing like the mirror match, which I'm not really comfortable with. It's more like whoever goes first or like gets better draws and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I got in top 8. I won the coin flip to go first, which was really good. But my opening hand was really bad. I had to like end right away, and then I didn't draw a supporter, which was really bad. So I couldn't set up. And then he plays one Toad in his deck, so he was able to Toad on his first turn, but he didn't have a supporter either. I remember.
Mhm.
So we both had really weak boards, but he was using Toad on me, so I couldn't really advance mine. So I had to keep using Sky Return with Shaman to try and draw more cards. And he actually double supported in one of his turns by accident, which we didn't catch, and the judge lucky caught it. So he got a prize penalty. So I just took it because I had a bad hand, and I'm like, whatever,
Yeah.
I might as well take it. I hit
That's
a
true.
Leafeon off the prize, so I was able to kill his Toad in like 2 turns. And then the game was really close from there. It was like back and forth in prizes. I finally got set up after a while. So we were just trading Raichus with each other. Eventually he got down to 1 prize and I was at 2. I didn't have a Pikachu in play, so I wasn't able to knock out his Raichu. So what I had to do is he had a Golbat with 50.
Mhm.
So I sniped it with one of my Golbats to go to 1 prize, but I couldn't evolve to knock him out to win the game right there. So I had to attach a double colorless to a Pikachu and use Nuzzle to try and paralyze him.
Okay.
So I got heads really luckily. I knew he played Virizion in his deck, and his hand was like 3 cards, I think, so I was still a bit nervous. So he drew for his turn. He played Computer Search, and he got an N. So he played N. And then he drew Grass Virizion off an N to 2 for the game. And at first I didn't realize he won. I'm like, what? And then I was like, oh my god. So that was probably one of the luckiest things.
Yeah.
And after the match, I was talking with like Curtis and people, and he's like, "Yeah, Matt had Computer Search and Grass in his hand, but he forgot to play it." And I asked Matt if he's like, "Yeah." He's like, for some reason he thought Virizion had poison. So he was a bit nervous in the match, and he forgot. So he had game, then he ended himself, and then still hit it off the end of 2.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then game 2. I got to go first, which is again a really big advantage.
Sure.
But I didn't get a lot of basics down on the first turn. I got like 1 Zubat or something. And I wasn't able to evolve my Zubat into a Golbat. And on his turn, he got double Golbat on my Zubat, which is pretty bad for me because like now I was like losing in bats, so I couldn't put as much damage down to try and take cheap prizes on him.
Mhm.
And so he was up in the prize trade too. And I was always behind, and I never had a turn where I could like Lysander to knock out a Shaman to like put myself back ahead. I always had to play like draw cards.
Yeah.
I had to do the Nuzzle trick with Pikachu again to try and squeak out a win. I got heads on Nuzzle again, luckily, but he had a Juniper and he hit the Virizion, which was expected. His deck was really thin. I couldn't do anything.
Mhm.
Like one of the big things though was game 1 I didn't play a Colress the whole match, and he kept Colressing like every turn for like 13, 14, 15 cards, which is like insane.
Yeah.
Game 2 I forgot if I played one, but yeah, it just didn't go that well for me.
I mean, but still, top 8 is very good. So congratulations.
Thanks.
All right. So I got some questions here. So I guess the first question is why did you decide to play the Pikachu Crobat deck?
Uh, so I built it the day before Nats, but the deck trades like extremely favorably against like any EX heavy decks,
Mhm.
and it has the potential to one-shot anything in the format, which is really good right now. It was the full bench and a Bangle. I'm hitting for 190. And if I face any Megas with the Golbats and Crobats, you're able to one-shot them in 1 turn, which is really good. And those decks are generally a lot slower.
Sure.
And the deck is extremely fast and consistent with 4 Shamans and all the supporters. And you can Colress for huge numbers with this deck, which is I really liked. I threw in Leafeon because the primal cards like Kyogre and Groudon were getting a bit of hype. So if I ran into those, I wanted like really solid matchups. I think it's still favorable without it, but it's still good. Against Seismitoad, it helps too. But against Seismitoad, a really good trick you can do is if you bench two Shamans, you can keep using Sky Return between the two until you're ready to use Circle Circuit for the knockout, because they're never going to one-shot your Shaman unless they like laser heads you and you stay asleep. But I use Sky Return a lot in the tournament. I used it almost as much as Circle Circuit. It's really good when you have a bad, even if you don't have a bad hand, like you can just use the ability again. You're preserving double colorlesses, or if you have to Juniper, you could save one on a Shaman and get it back. And the deck honestly had really solid matchups all around. I felt it had a pretty sketchy Landy Bats matchup, but in testing, I was able to win like 4 times out of 10, which I thought was okay because I could probably like squeak out a tie or maybe steal a win if I faced it. I didn't think Donphan was going to be that huge either. I faced one, but I got pretty lucky to win. And you have so Crobat in that matchup, which is really good with the fighting resistance.
Sure.
But a lot of Dawn fans are starting to play Magnetic Storm now to counter the Crobats, which could be pretty bad. And I only played 2 Crobats in my deck, so it could get really rough. But yeah, the deck is just really solid all around, and it doesn't really have a solid damage cap, and pretty good matchups.
Okay. Now, if you were to play this tournament again, would you make any changes to the list, or you think it's really solid?
Yeah, I would definitely add 1 teammates. I talked with Curtis after, and he told me like he played one in his deck, so did Matt. And it's really good because you can grab like any card you want plus a Shaman.
Mm-hmm.
So you can grab like a DCE or like an Ultra Ball or something, and then you can just Shaman for 6. So it's basically like playing a supporter and a computer search at the same time in a way. Or you can just get like a Raichu double colorless or something like that. It's really good for setting up like knockouts. I don't know what I would cut. The deck is really tight on space, I think.
True.
Like I don't know, a lot of times like I would find myself drawing a lot of supporters, and with Shaman, like you could maybe cut like a Juniper, go down to 3, but I think you want 4 at all times.
Okay.
But yeah, I would probably try and find a way for teammates. That's the main thing I would add.
Okay. Now, besides the Landorus Crobat deck, do you think the deck has any auto losses?
My friend Daniil played like a Landorus Garbodor deck, which would have been really rough for me to run into.
True.
I think Garbodor is really good against this deck. You shut off Shaman. And the reason this deck is really good, most of it is it's really explosive. Like you're almost never going to whiff what you need because you have 4 Shamans like all the time.
Mm.
So Garbodor kind of messes with Shaman, your Crobats, even your Executes, and Mr. Mime too. So that's pretty bad. Landy Bats is also bad because they can like just like bat and then like double knock out a lot of things.
Yeah.
I had Mr. Mime in my deck just in case I ran into Landers. The matchup is definitely winnable. It's not like auto loss, but you definitely don't want anything fighting really.
Okay. Now, would you say 4 Shaman is necessary in the deck, or would you ever cut it down to 3?
I definitely think you need 4 Shaman.
Mm.
Like you could prize one, which is really bad. And I think almost every game I would play like all 4 of them. I play Sacred Ash, so when someone counters your stadium, I guess you could Sacred Ash some Shamans back and use them again. But you want to set up like a lot. So on the first couple turns of the games where you're going to use Shaman the most to draw into all your Zubats, Pikachus, and all that. And its attack is actually like really, really good. Like I don't know why Pokemon gave it a good attack when it already has such a good ability. Like I found myself using Sky Return a lot too. Yeah, if you prize one and you only have 2, like I feel like you can be in a lot of rough spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to discard them a lot off of when they switch stadium. So I think the Sacred Ash is fun. You could probably play 3, but I just really prefer 4.
Okay. Now, if you were going to U.S. Nationals next weekend, would you make a switch to a different deck, or would you stick with the Raichu Crobat deck?
I'd probably switch. I think at US Nats, like Crobat is gonna be really big. So I think you have to have a deck that has an answer to Crobat and to the Raichu deck because I think Canadian has like Raichu was like everywhere at the tournament. Bats were basically like 50% of the top tables, even more.
Yeah.
So I think you just need a solid answer to Bats, and I don't really like playing mirror matches with this deck because a lot of times it just feels like it comes down to how you draw or who goes first.
Mm-hmm.
But the deck can realistically win against almost anything. So I don't know if I would play it again. I just thought it was good. Because the Canadian meta, like, it was kind of like a blind meta that you had to go into and not knowing what anyone was going to play.
That's true.
And I didn't think a lot of people were going to play Landy Bats at the tournament. Not that many people did. There's only like a couple near the top tables. A lot of people played the Raichu deck though, so I'm lucky I didn't get a mirror match in Swiss.
All right. Well, how many championship points are you at right now?
I'm at 437, I think.
Okay, sweet. So you have your Worlds invite.
Yeah.
Now, going to Worlds, is this your first Worlds tournament, or have you been before?
No, I've gone twice before.
Okay. So you're pretty much used to it. Now, do you expect that at Worlds the whole meta will change? I know last year nobody really saw Virizion Genesect was going to win Masters. Do you think that will happen again?
Yeah, this format's weird. It has a lot of room for weird decks to do well, and like I think after US Nats, like I hope at least there's like a defined metagame or like decks you need to counter.
Hmm.
But at Worlds, people always like to pull out like crazy decks and stuff like that. So I could see it, or maybe I think it'd be like an already established deck, but probably someone's gonna have like a weird take on it, like a weird build that would do really well.
Okay. All right. Well, do you want to give any shout-outs to anybody?
Uh, Shout outs to anyone who drafted me in fantasy. Curtis drafted me, Jeremiah drafted me, Arjun drafted me, I think. Shout out to my main testing partner, Alan Zhu, for winning nationals and seniors. And shout out to all the Canadian Pokemon players. Shout out to you for having me on the interview today.
Yeah. Alrighty, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and good luck at Worlds, and I'll see you there.
All right, thanks. See you there.
Alright, man. Take care.